Oh, I think he's going to take some time. I think, look, none of us can have the Billy Chapel moment, right? Where for the love of the game, you pitch a no-hitter in Yankee Stadium as a Tiger and walk away with a pretty girl. I don't, that's a Hollywood movie. That's not going to happen. However, I think he feels like, in watching him, I don't know, I can't speak for him, but he's playing at a level that doesn't indicate his skills are declining. Now, he's not playing well, and a lot of that is circumstantial based on what's going on. So I think when he takes some time to reflect, I think he says to himself, I still have it. Do I have it enough to go the whole year? I think he does. I think he still plays next year.
When you look at the teams that you hear, if he were to leave Tampa, you hear the Dolphins and the Raiders and the 49ers, the Titans. In your mind, is there a best fit, best situation for Tom?
I will say this. He will go, if he plays, he will go where he is most comfortable with the coach calling the plays and running the offense. I think if he learned anything in Tampa and he won a Super Bowl there, he learned that not everything is set up or run exactly like the Patriots are run. And he's very comfortable in that environment. It's almost like that's where he's thrived, and he knows it. And I think the further he got away from it, the more he appreciated what happened there in terms of the coaching, the game-to-game structure, how they played the game. And I think it probably brought him closer to that. So the next move would be to a place where he felt very comfortable with the guy calling the plays. And that could be Kyle Shanahan, it could be Sean Payton, it could be Josh McDaniels. I don't know the answer to that, but comfort's going to go a long way in that decision.
Well, if you're saying that, and then in Las Vegas, you have the head coach, you have the offensive coordinator, who I think you know pretty well as well, who's also worked with Tom, and they have the pieces around him. How good of a fit would it be for Tom in Las Vegas?
Well, I think with Tom, we all know, is it a 1 year? It's not going to be a 5-year commitment. So, if you're the coach of the Raiders, do you go 1 year and just hold your breath for the next, or do you have a plan in place? I think a lot of this is going to be part A, part B. And until you know what part B is, I don't think you can handle part A. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. If you're San Francisco, let's say, for example, and you want to develop Trey Lance for another year, Brady makes a lot of sense, right? You bring him in and then you give another year to develop Trey Lance, and you got Brock Purdy over there. You could see that scenario. If you don't have anybody but Brady, what do you do? How do you solve that problem? Do you draft one? I think there's a lot of elements and layered into that decision.
Sean Payton, he said, I believe yesterday, that they want first-round pick for him. We don't see coaches traded all that often. Is Sean worth that? Is that a lot for a team to give up draft capital to change head coaches?
Well, I think anytime you've gone through these coaches that have gotten traded, the team that made the trade really won. Including Tampa, which gave up a bunch for Gruden. They won a Super Bowl. So I don't know what you pay for that, but they won a Super Bowl. The Bill Parcells trade favored the Jets. The Patriots trade for Belichick favored the Patriots. So yeah, I think that whatever it costs. Now I can't imagine that the Saints are going to say to Carolina, it's going to cost you the same as it would, the Arizona Cardinals or, another team. I think the NFC South might have more value in terms of what it's going to cost than just give them there.
In terms of a good fit for him, he's obviously an offensive guy, so he's going to want to look at what might already be in place. Of the teams that are negotiating with him and with the Saints, is there a team that stands out the most to you?
I think, knowing Sean like I do, I think the owner, whoever is the owner that he feels most comfortable with, that he feels he has a relationship with, that he feels he can work hand in hand with, that's not going to change his mind in an hour. I think that'll be the place he goes. I think everything else is irrelevant. I think there's an old saying, don't lose sight of the main thing, because the main thing is always the main thing. And the main thing in the NFL is the coach, the owner, and the quarterback.